Hello everyone. In this video, we will discuss the current market situation. We will try to understand whether there are chances for growth, what are the negative points against and positive for. So let's start with Bitcoin. He certainly looks sad. Let me remind you, it was expected to see a reaction of continued growth in this zone. But everything did not go according to plan, and Bitcoin is now at $26,000. And the situation is as difficult as possible. But I still believe that the goals above $33,000 are relevant, and we will come to them before the global reversal. That is, the downward movement now is not the same global reversal, with a hike below the current loyalties by $10,000. This too, in my understanding, will happen, but not now. And at the moment, I am considering two scenarios. This is a hike up from the current at least 28,600, that is, to this mirror level. Plus, to test this zone, which was a support zone, is now a resistance zone, or growth after reaching the level of 22,600. That is, this order is a block that has not been tested on this decline. Plus this FIBO, this impulse, is completely relevant. That is, we have a support zone here. Respectively, it coincides with the order block for 22,600. Below this LOI, that is, $19,000 of Bitcoin, at the moment I am not considering. I think that the growth should continue. Accordingly, either with candles flowing in this shadow, possibly with a potential fracture, or after reaching 22,600. And now, I am more inclined to believe that the growth will be approximately from the current levels. And there are some positive signals for this, which we will discuss a little later. But for now, let's talk about why growth in general is possible, why the goals above are relevant. Firstly, we have a zone that has not been tested. Plus, we have an ascending structure that is not broken at the moment. And this magnetic zone coincides with the goals for this FIBA, which is completely relevant at the moment. Accordingly, the elephant of the structure on the weekly time frame will only be below this low. The structure on Bitcoin is ascending from the point of view of the long-term time frame. But despite this whole upward structural element is a correction to this downward momentum. Therefore, I believe that we are still in a global bear market, which I have been talking about all the time. And the continuation of this trend, that is, with the renewal of this LOI, I expect to see only after reaching this zone, that is, above $34,000. Nothing has changed here as before, and I'm sticking to this plan. That is, I will fix all my positions that are currently in drawdown only in this zone. And a global short position is already being looked at here. But now let's analyze the situation more locally. At the moment, Bitcoin is in this support zone. From here, we can see a rebound at least to the level of 28,600. And already here it will be necessary to keep an eye on pricing. Perhaps from here, the downward movement will continue just the same to the level of 22,600. But personally, I am considering the option of continuing to grow above 34, which absolutely no one believes in now. And this growth can occur from the current marks inside this candle shadow or after a break. Therefore, here I would still look for long positions when forming good ones from the stages. At the moment there are none, and now we are in a sideways movement which may be delayed, especially given the strong downward movement, where a huge number of positions have been liquidated. Accordingly, the market now needs to gain new positions and only then decide where to shave them. But now let's discuss the positive aspects that suggest that growth can still continue. And the first such moment is the dollar index. Here locally, I want to see a reversal, and there are small prerequisites for it to happen after all. At the moment, this impulse growth removes this pool of liquidity and does not continue. And at the same time, the candles are closed with shadows above this level. That's not bad. Plus, this situation can be compared to this moment when a huge number of people turned over here, saying that the dollar index would go higher, respectively, the markets would fall. But personally, I also assumed that after the removal of this high, the downward movement would continue, because the dollar indices have magnetic zones that have not yet been reached from below. Here we also assumed a decline from this zone, and subsequently, confirming the reversal here, I also assumed the growth of the cryptocurrency market, which at that time also few people believed. Accordingly, now there are small signs of a reversal. It has not yet been confirmed. There is a pattern formation, a pattern of 3 touches. It is absolutely perfectly formed now. And to fully confirm that the dollar index is sent lower, we need to break through this LOI, that is 103 points. Here we already see a good order block that puts a high after removing all the liquidity floors and forming this pattern. At the same time, this order box of older time frames is already being tested, and from here, I personally expect to see a decrease. Therefore, we are carefully watching the dollar index. If it breaks through this level, accordingly, we have a good chance of growth, or at least accumulation of potential for growth, which can work out with a small flag, as it often happens. In the long run, in any case, if the forecast works out here and the dollar index goes down, I'm still sure that it will turn around and go very, very high. That is, to update this high in 114 points. So everything will be even worse than it is now. But I believe that this will not happen in the near future. And before this reversal, that is, before the global reversal, when everything will be bad, we should see the latest growth in cryptocurrencies. Personally, I am counting on this to fix my positions in the plus. The next positive moment is Ether, which, unlike Bitcoin, has already reached the level of 22,600. That is, it is on the Ether 1,580. And here is exactly the same impulse. And also here it is more clearly seen that the ascending structure is not broken because the scrapping will be at this level, that is, 1,368. And here, the Ether at the moment simply shows the correction of this upward momentum. And he has already come to the long position recruitment zone as well as the spot purchase zone. And since the Ether has already come to this zone, there is a possibility that Bitcoin will not visit it. Here we see the uncreation. Accordingly, the Ether at the moment suggests that growth may occur from the current levels. The minimum target for the Ether is this mirror level of $1,800. And again, the goals from above are also relevant, and personally I will look closely. Global short positions are only in this zone. So far, I am not considering any positions on the Ether, either in long or short. Let me remind you about the long-term goal of $500. I also consider it as relevant as possible. But in my understanding, we are not going to it now, nor from the current marks. Accordingly, the global reversal has not begun, and so far, we are just getting a correction. I say what I see on the chart. Maybe I'm wrong. And let's see how events will develop here. In fact, the situation is as interesting as possible. Now locally, I would also look for long positions on the Ether when forming from the stage, at least to come to this level. But here, I would have looked at chart in the same way at some stage. But in general, I still do not write off cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I believe that there will still be growth. The next positive moment is the Link coin. This is a highly capitalized coin, fundamental and highly liquid. Therefore, in my understanding, it can also give hints on the direction of the entire market. And if you don't look at Bitcoin, then the Link looks good, because we assumed this correction. It was as logical as possible in this zone, and I bought off the position that I was selling on local AA. And the Link looks good so far. That is, we see a correction of this upward momentum, and I would like to see a reaction from this zone. If you look at the local situation, then here at the break, I would also look towards the long position. If we see a sharp payback, we can enter long with a stop for a new play. Personally, I will try to consider long precisely by the Link coin, because right now I like it the most. At the same time, my spot position has been formed for a long time. I believe that the entry point is good, similar, and in the average time. I will remind you that the goal of 9 and 6 is also relevant. I believe that we will definitely get there, and I will only sell my position above these levels. At the same time, I looked at the blade more carefully, and also want to note this level. That is, about $13 is a more optimistic goal, which Link can also come to. And I will definitely leave part of the position in case of growth to this level. Will it fall from the current ones below this low? I doubt it as much as possible, because this downward movement gathered all the main liquidity pools and formed a good reversal. Therefore, it is not necessary to do with the parella here at all. And I would like to see the Rus on the coin from the current marks. But this does not mean that the downward movement will not continue. That is, I may be wrong, but I say what I see on the chart and express my personal opinion. Therefore, I am still quite positive about the Link coin specifically. But now let's move on to the negative moment, which suggests very bad times. And this coin is BinBi. That is, the native token of the Binance exchange. A year ago, I recorded a video that this coin is doomed, that there will be problems in the Binance exchange. And a year later, nothing has changed. That is, the coin looks at least $140, $150. And right now, this tool gives hints that this decline is inevitable. And accordingly, if BinBi wants to fall so low, it means that the Binance exchange will have problems in any case, because they have a huge amount of BinBi. This is their liquidity, including their security. Accordingly, if the coin rolls away, then the capitalization of the Binance exchange also rolls away. They start having some problems. It is difficult to assume what exactly will happen there, but some problems are definitely ahead. And this means that this is a news event, and in general, something that can affect the entire market. Accordingly, this coin suggests that everything will be even worse in the long term. And this is in sync with my opinion on the market as a whole, that we are in a bear market, and in any case everything will roll away. But specifically, BinBuy does not give strong hints that this will not happen now, because we are already close to the local low. There is no strong support zone. There is no good reaction. There is no reversal pattern. And here, we can only hope that from the current levels, we will get some kind of rebound and get a trade. Accordingly, we will gain time for the entire market. But no matter what the rebound is here, no matter what the sidewall is here, BinBuy will still slide into this zone and even lower. Personally, I think that this SHCO will drop to $40. And accordingly, you should understand how bad things can be. And as I said, here we can only hope that this drain will not happen from the current levels, or not immediately. That is, perhaps we will see just a break here, some kind of pullback, and a long sideways move that will buy time for the entire market. Therefore, keep a close eye on BinBuy. If he breaks through this Lua, and there is no reaction here, then most likely Bitcoin will go to 22,600. But so far, taking into account the positive aspects that I noted above, I am inclined to believe that this decline will occur, but a little later. And now, there are still chances for growth. Now let's take a quick run through Coin. Nothing much has changed for DOT and NEAR. There we made a break, where I made a spot and a purchase, and also expect to see growth. Let's look at the Atom coin. This is a fairly complex tool. I won't get tired of repeating this in every video. Here is my own chart, and I noted that this support zone is very weak. So from here, I don't expect to see strong growth. At most some kind of rebound. Personally, I also made a spot purchase on a fracture. And at the moment, the conservative goal for growth is the level 894. To test, this mirrored the level of this order block. And there are no more conservative goals from above. There is only one optimistic long-term goal of $20. But so far, I do not think that we will go to this goal from the current marks. The Atom has long-term goals in the region of $3. I also believe that we will not come to them from the current levels, and now I would like to see at least a good rebound. It's hard to say where it might grow. Personally, I'm just accumulating this tool, and I think that it will grow for a long time anyway, and you can sit quietly in this tool, even if we are rolling down from the current marks. Because initially, by the 2023 year, I was approaching the year of accumulation of the position, and I did not expect anything good from this year. I have a video on the channel called 2023 year. This is the worst year for cryptocurrencies. And there I talked about my action plan. Initially, I was preparing for the fact that I would buy Bitcoin every day for $500 for the 23rd year, despite the fact that it would fall by $10,000 in such a channel. Subsequently, my plan changed a little after this growth, but at the same time, all Bitcoins are located exactly in those zones where I wanted to accumulate a position. Therefore, there are no strong changes specifically in the field, and locally, they also look like growth. Let's look at the next tool. This is the Solana coin, which at the moment also looks pretty good. That is, we are getting a correction of this upward momentum, and we would like to see Solana a little lower. I do not consider personal purchases in this zone because there are positions in other altcoins, and in my understanding, Solana has already shown quite strong growth. That is, most altcoins are now below these marks. And Solana is one of the few instruments that went beyond these AI, which were delivered in January-February of the 23rd year. That is, here you can compare absolutely with any altcoin. Let's, for example, look at the APTOS coin. Here too, in January of the 23rd year, we put this high, and APTOS, like other altcoins, did not go beyond this high. As a result, we even see an update of BARKs. That is, we can say that Solana is now stronger than other altcoins. But, at the same time, in my understanding, these altcoins have the same potential as Solana to remove these KOI. That is, Solana can go above altcoin, at least catch up with Solana, and go beyond these KOI. Accordingly, APTOS can be safely seen above $8. Personally, I also have a position formed. A spot purchase was made below this low. At the moment, I am not considering new purchases. I will just wait for at least some kind of rebound. And I also forgot to clarify that those people who gained spot positions in logical purchase zones, for example, at $25,000, at $28,000, with a high probability, you will have the opportunity to go out at a loss of $28,600 if you think that the global reversal has begun, and Bitcoin will go very, very low. Therefore, at current prices, in any case, you do not need to sell anything, and with a high probability, you will have the opportunity to go out at no loss just like me. But personally, I'm not going to go out at no loss either. Perhaps I will reduce some positions, but in general, my plan has not changed. I will wait for Bitcoin above $33,000. So let's get back to altcoin. Consider the coin AMX. Here we also removed the LOI. I highlighted this level, that is 0.51, as the level of a set of positions. I also have a limit order right here, and this will be the last purchase on AMX until it grows into the $0.9 zone. This goal is still relevant. Well, in the end, let's see. Madi, as you remember, a long time ago, or rather the entire history of the channel, and I say that Matic will update this ploy. I said it on this high, on this high, and on this high, and it was absolutely impossible to believe it, but in the end, now we are already close to this low. I think it's much easier to believe this at the moment. I still think that Matic will update this low. It will go much lower, but now I would also like to see a good rebound. And locally, I would look closely at this break. The previous time, from these marks, I assumed growth in this zone. From here, we got a continuation of the downward movement. Accordingly, now I would also like to see a rebound, but higher in this zone. After that, the downward movement should continue. I believe that Matic will no longer update the high from the top, that is, at $1.50, and will go to the paralog, where he will look for a new bottom. Accordingly, in the long term, Matic, like BNB, as the dollar index, as well as some other coins, suggest that everything will be even worse, and now we can only hope that it is not worse now. Basically, this video is coming to an end. Thank you all for watching. Do not forget to subscribe to the Telegram channel